How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. I'm actually typing all of this on this split mechanical keyboard called the Split65 from EPOMaker. First, a quick sound test. This is the volume knob. It pretty much makes no noise. When the keyboard is pushed together like this and you are typing, you always kind of have to squeeze your arms together depending on how big chest muscles you have. You kind of have to scrimp up like this and sort of bend together. It's not as ergonomic. What happens when you are completely relaxed and you just put your hands in front on your desk? It's the width of your shoulders. So that's where your keyboard should be for the most relaxed mode. If you game a lot, you're gonna have your mouse a little bit further apart. And in very rigorous gaming sessions, you might hit your mouse on the keyboard like this. So it's best to take this away, and then you can go really wild if you want to. Scroll completely 360 degrees around and then go back. No problem whatsoever. The wireless transceiver is only on the left side, so you still need to connect via USB-C with the right side, and then in this whole thing, you can connect it 3 different ways. If you want the least latency, you definitely want to connect it the old traditional way with just the USB-C cable to USB-A. This one has a 3 millisecond latency, especially important for gaming. The Bluetooth on its own, without the dongle, is going to have a 15 millisecond latency. If you want wireless and at the same time you want low latency, you can use the included dongle, which has much lower latency at only 5 milliseconds. A lot better than even the Bluetooth 5.0, but just a smidgen slower than the USB-C hardwired connection. Let me unbox this and show you all the features. The 2 sides are magnetic, but because of the rubber feet, if you slide them on a desk surface, they don't really pull itself together because of the grip. We have the manual here, a USB-C cable that resembles a rope. I can feel the cable that's inside. There's a key puller, 3 extra flamingo switches, an EPOMaker dongle. Here's the other box. This one has a braided USB-A to USB-C cable. They are slightly gold plated and nothing else in here. I'll be replacing the flamingo switches with these budgerigar switches, which is most like brown switches, which are tactile. Each one of these boxes has 35 switches. This keyboard is 65%. It has 68 keys total. Each one of these are 35, so by the time you replace them, you'll have 2 extra switches. Let's remove the A first, and then we use these tweezers here to remove. The left is the flamingo, the right is the budgerigar. The footprint on both of them are exactly the same, so we can just fit this switch right back in, just push it right into place, and just like that, it's replaced. The flamingo is a linear switch. There is no tactile feedback. As you push it, you have to increase in pressure, but there's no specific indentation that you can feel. It activates right after you push it, but there's no difference in feel. But for the budgerigar, I can push it very lightly, and it feels like it increases pressure, and all of a sudden, after a certain point, it decreases in the pressure. So it kind of feels like you're running across and there's a bump. This type of switch is very helpful for typists because when you push it and you feel that there is an indentation, that means you activated the switch. For the S, if you just kind of touched it, you're not really sure if it's activated or not. My experience is that even though you type very fast, you can kind of feel which finger felt the indentation. So let's say I push 1, right? If I went like that and just kind of touched the E and I go, oh yeah, I didn't really feel the indentation in the ear, therefore I didn't push it. Then I can just go back and push just the E rather than go back and delete everything and type it again. However, when you push this very fast, the difference is very, very subtle. You have to push it very slow and you can feel that, okay, it's very smooth. But then this budgerigar one, it feels non-linear. I'm gonna push these switches with equal pressure, but very slowly. Look on the left one, as I push it, at a certain point, I put a lot of pressure on, and once it passes that threshold, there's a certain momentum and it keeps me pushing further and further. Whereas the linear one, I can just increase it. There is no let off of pressure, so it kind of linearly progresses. See, it's very smooth up and down. Let's swap the switches now. I'm going to use this grabber tool to remove that switch. There's a little spot on the top and bottom for you to wedge this. Squeeze it together and pull it out, just like that. While I have most of the keycaps off, notice that the wired keys like the backspace and the space have guides on the side. There are these shiny press fittings that's pushed onto this top layer, which is a polycarbonate base plate that's secured in place by these press fittings, probably with screws from the other side. Each of the keys has an LED right underneath, and that corresponds to that little hole at the bottom of each key so the light can shine through. These are matte keys, so all the light is going to shine through is through the edges on the side. The lettering is actually printed on by dye sublimation. That means it's very thick and very durable. However, it's not as durable as double shot, where the actual plastic is that color no matter how much you push it. Let's put the keys back now. It looks like the hole is supposed to be a little bit to the left, but it does fit if you flip it upside down. The contacts is here and here instead. So that works this way. Not too big a deal, at least here, because the keys is not transparent, so the light is gonna work. The button will still work the same even though it's upside down. Let's continue. I got 2 extras. Put the keys back on. Let's take a look at the bottom. Each side has its own 4 feet. The USB-C wired connection goes in there, and this cable connects the circuitry from this board to this board. You can select between Bluetooth, wired, or the dongle connection. Now I'm going to toggle through various backlight effects. The keyboard has a 3000 milliamp hour battery. Of course, if you have all the lights on, it's not going to last as long. You turn off the light with function X, it's going to last a lot longer. Let me scroll through a couple of the lighting effects. There's this twirly one, a red twirly one, a red and white twirly one. There's a rainbow one that flashes by, flashes up and down, and kind of like an arrow. This kind of goes towards a center. 2 circular things. There's just so many of them. This looks kind of cool. It's kind of like a candy look, a lighter shade of candy look. So lots of different ones, whichever you feel like. But this one is something I like because if you press it, it makes this blue glow. If you push S, it's like, oh my gosh, you pushed it a lot and it starts turning red. Like that. And then it sort of fades away. Turns green, turns a lighter color, turns blue, and finally kind of fades away like that. Let's say I push this one, and then you can kind of see which buttons you've been pushing a lot. Next one is like stars almost. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. It seems like there's just too many. When you push function E, the blue light will blink, indicating it's pairing. Same thing with W, and I already paired it with Q. So when I turn it on, it blinks a few times blue, and then it turns a solid blue and it connects to my computer. Another one I like is function B, which is the battery indicator. B right there. And it lights up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 8. When it's fully charged, it will light up all 10 LEDs for 100%. And when you plug it in, function left space, if it's red, it means it's charging. If it lights up green, it means it's fully charged. Here's the instruction booklet. There's quite a few number of shortcut keys. Pause this to see what's available. Here's more information. Some specs showing that the stabilizer type is plate mounted on top of the plate material, which is PC or polycarbonate. And finally, the last page. Just the left side of the keyboard is quite hefty, weighing in at 15.7 ounces or about 1 pound. The right side weighs in at 1 pound, 2.2 ounces. So the whole thing is around 2 pounds and 2 ounces. Definitely not travel friendly, so you would leave this at home. I have it connected via Bluetooth. I'm gonna show you the volume knob. If I turn this, look at that. It goes up and down, and I can mute it by pushing on it, unmute it, push it again. Except when I have it connected to an external monitor, the volume knob actually does not work because it only connects the volume on the MacBook. You only have delete, page up, page down. Where's the insert, home, and end button? Well, you just push function, and this would be insert. Home is over here, and end is over there. So you can just double up this row right here just by pushing function. At first, when I started using this, it felt a little bit weird, but you can sort of try to get used to it by splitting it apart just a little bit at first. The new keys that I use actually are 35 grams. It felt a little tight at first. I think it takes a little bit of wearing them in. If you guys are interested in this Ergonomics Split65% keyboard, check out my affiliate link down in the video description below. Thanks for watching this video. Until next time.